The tragedy in Wisconsin, back in November of 2021, Darrell Brooks drove his Ford SUV into a Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin, killing 5 people and injuring 48 other people. Well, as a result of that, Mr. Brooks is now on trial in Wisconsin, and he's making a spectacle of himself, literally. And he's representing himself. And he gives us, in this video, 4 different examples of why Abraham Lincoln was right when he was quoted as saying, "A person who represents himself has a fool for a client." Well, even a fool you would expect to know that he should keep his shirt on at trial.
This court, within a minute of the court calling the case. I should also make a record at the moment he is muted.
So you can tell at this moment that that judge has literally had enough. I don't know how far they're into trial at this particular point, but he has his shirt off in court, and you can tell he doesn't have his suit on. The jury's not there. This is probably just a preliminary hearing or something like that. And he's wearing his jail oranges, right? And he's got his shirt off. Well, listen, if you got your shirt off in front of the judge, well, that judge is going to rule on everything within your trial. So don't you think you should give her a little respect? I mean, A, she is a female, maybe more respectful to have your shirt on. If it was a male, maybe less respectful. But the guy is making a mockery of it, and she's not having any of it. And you can tell in this next clip, she's clearly had enough of Mr. Brooks.
Mr. Brooks, stop.
I'm not gonna,
You are not being respectful to this proceeding or to this jury.
I'm laughing because at this point, she sounds like my wife talking to me when I've done something wrong. And I think everybody can relate to that, where you have a significant other and they're just like, come on. Like, why are we doing this, Mr.? Like, she sounds exhausted. And that's the person that's going to rule upon every motion that Mr. Brooks makes, every argument he makes. And she's exhausted at this point. It doesn't bode well for him representing himself. I mean, he'd be better off with a public defender.
Bring it up with the clerk of court.
how
Not
can I bring
addressing
it up
it.
with the clerk of court? How am I supposed to do that?
How are you supposed to do that? You should have thought of that before you went through 1, 2, maybe even 3 public defenders. It's not the judge's responsibility to help any person in the court represent him or herself. And so Mr. Brooks, he's just flailing around there. Again, not making any friends, making himself look like a fool. And again, this isn't in front of the jury, but some of these have been in front of the jury. I mean, at one point he went on a 50-minute rant that his case should be thrown out, and the judge essentially just almost at this point, like dealing with a little kid. Okay, Mr. Brooks. Okay, Mr. Brooks. But you can tell she's exhausted at every minute. And does it sound like she's going to give him the benefit of the doubt at all? That's why you're more respectful in court than ever. You got to give that respect to the judge in hopes that, hey, listen, you're always going to get more bees with honey than you are shit. But Mr. Brooks clearly isn't thinking like that. You can tell he's doing a really bad job when your opponent is just tired of dealing with you, as you can see in this next clip.
Mr. Brooks has simply written the word State of Wisconsin plaintiff for the witness name. The State of Wisconsin is an entity. It's not a person.
This poor lady, right? Like all 3 of those people, I mean, they must have been there for 100 days at this point. At least that's how they feel. And you can just tell she's like, Mr. Brooks listed the state of Wisconsin as a witness. The state of Wisconsin is not a person. It's not an entity. Essentially, she's like, how is he going to call the state of Wisconsin as a witness, Your Honor? Your Honor, please. Like at this point, they all know what's happening, right? They all know what's happening. Mr. Brooks is going to lose this trial. And then Mr. Brooks is going to file an appeal and just waste more of the court's time. I mean, this is the judicial system that everybody says is unfair at some point, right? They always argue that. Well, listen, aren't they giving this guy every benefit of the doubt for one of the most heinous acts you can do? He drove through a Christmas parade, killing 5 people and injuring 48 other people. I mean, I feel like these prosecutors are being nothing but professional. That judge is being nothing but professional. Would anybody sound annoyed at this point? 100%. Can you imagine dealing with this day in and day out? This was your job. Every morning you woke up knowing that you were going to have to deal with Mr. Brooks. Come on. Leave me a comment, share, and hit the subscribe button. I really do appreciate it.